Welcome back to another episode of Fret Buzz the podcast. My name is Aaron Sefchick.
And I'm Joe McMurray.
And today we have an awesome episode for you today. A good friend of mine from the past worked with me at Box to Rock and Joe as well at one point, kind of in passing. But yeah, Mr. Graham Doby. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Yeah, not too bad. Graham comes from, you are actually originally from Arlington?
I was actually born in Boston and then kind of raised in Charlottesville. So
okay, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
And now
Charlottesville yesterday.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Beautiful place.
Oh, beautiful place. Great musicians. Great. You know, all my family's still there. So I always love to try to get back there as much as I can.
And yes, cool. Now Graham is up in New York City, jamming it out with a bunch of people. So yeah, welcome to Fret Buzz the podcast, Graham.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So I obviously met you at Bach to Rock a long time ago, and I was and still am. I was actually just telling Joe before the show. Am still impressed by your skills.
Thank you. Yeah.
He's very complimentary.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
I honestly don't know that I was just telling Joe, I've seen a lot of drummers, but in terms of your dedication to drums and how you go about practicing and how much you're into the actual experience of drums always astounded me. You were always just that cool guy down the hall, was just like always practicing. Anytime that there was a moment that you could have to just kind of jam out to the metronome or whatever, you were always doing it. And I was I was just like, wow, that cat is dedicated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely the height of like when I was practicing like I don't know, 6 to 7 hours a day. I know that was the height of it, but that's you know, I haven't been practicing as much. I've been doing like a little more playing and stuff. But
yeah.
I'm getting back to it now. Getting back to more of that element of shedding. So,
well, I think there's a time and a place for that. I think we all go through these, hills and valleys of through life when you get to practice a lot, and then because of certain circumstances, you don't get to practice as much. It's more work oriented or whatever it is, kids for me. So yeah, obviously we go through hills and valleys with your practice, but I will always remember you and your practice regimen in terms of wow, you're just good.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, but those were good times. Back at Box to Rock.
Yeah. So where did this all begin? Where did you? We'll just go over a brief history of what you've got in terms of where it all started and what got you into drums per se.
So it's funny, I started playing piano. I started off with parents were both pianists. Not professionals, but they played in church, and my mom used to like direct the youth choir sometimes. And so I was playing, and then one day it was like that Blues Brothers moment where I was playing at this talent show, and this kid came up and played drums along to like a Dave Matthews song, and it was just like, oh, I was like, that's it. I want to do that. And so I just like hounded my parents to like, I didn't even want them to buy me drums. I just wanted them to like take me to Sam Ash or play where I could just play the drums. I was like, I need to like play drums like right now. And then so my parents got me a drum set, and then they couldn't stand to hear me just bashing away. So they started getting me lessons, and I figured out pretty early, like, by about 8th grade, I think the three things I wanted to do was either professional basketball player, professional scooterer, because I would go to skate parks with like a Razor scooter. Okay. Not a skateboard or anything. I was definitely a dork, but and drums. So, and then when I got to high school, it was very clear cut that I was going to do this for the rest of my life. So, and then just going up to high school, I was still practicing like as much as I possibly could, playing with a bunch of musicians. What were you saying?
What genre were you playing then?
I was playing all jazz, and I was
Okay.
really, really just like heavy set on jazz. It wasn't until probably about I had like a rock band and stuff that I played with, you know, with a couple friends. But like once I was really starting to get into jazz, it was like that was everything.
That's interesting. Why jazz?
You know, it just really spoke with me. You know, I mean, I was also like, you know, surrounded by a lot of great jazz musicians. When I was like learning, you know, I studied with Robert Jospe for a while, and then I played a lot with John Dirth, and he really helped me out. And then also like Greg Thomas of Almar High School. I mean, he really paved the path for me of just like really delving into this music and like, you know, being professional. It was all about professionalism and being on time and knowing your parts and practicing, you know, making sure that you didn't you would never half-ass it, you know. And so so I just started getting into it, and I just, you know, I started playing. Once I started playing with Dirth, I think I really started to be like, wow, I really feel this music, and just like was just like, it's just a feeling that just came over me. It just, you know, I just loved it. You know, started playing piano, learning like, you know, learning how all the chordal structures worked and everything, and it just, I think I just fell in love with it. Still to this day, like when I hear any style of music, I can be like, oh, I really like that, but jazz still, it's always just at my heart.
Yeah,
really. Whether I don't play jazz as much as I used to, unfortunately. But every chance I get, I'll go play jazz anytime. You know, I'm actually about to start a jazz trio right now. So in the process of doing that.
cool. Keep me tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you playing in a high school big band, or did they have combos for you?
We had both. We had combos
In high school, like through the school?
It was through school, because you know what we did?
That's incredible.
We did combo competitions, you know, but we also we would like meet through the school, and we would do that, and then we would just go gig out in town, you know, and we would play we had a rock band too. So it was like a rock band, and then we would play jazz as like, you know, but we knew each other really well. So like, you know, obviously like when you go to play jazz, you know, if you have this, like, you know, this connection through other music, you're going to you're just going to link up really well. So we did that. So I was playing with them. In high school, I had the big band and then a combo, and the combo was gigging, and we were gigging all the time. You know?
Wow. And what types of tunes were you playing? Is there a certain era you were into, or a certain?
I think we were playing, you know, it kind of progressed, you know, but we were playing standards, and I think I took a lot from like the Miles Davis, Tony Williams era, like that, like old, like that,
late 60s, late 50s kind of era.
Yeah, you know, and Elvin too, like that style of just that very, like, you know, I'm really into like metric modulations. That's a huge thing that I like. You know, I'm really into odd time signatures and all of this like weird stuff that nobody wants you to play. You know, but you know,
that's what I'm talking about.
I just can't help it. I love it. You know, I love superimposing 7 over, you know, 15, 16. I don't know. It's just weirdo. But
so cool.
But you know,
so cool.
Yeah, it's cool, you know. It's just but yeah, so you know, as I started to develop, I started to, you know, was always into that kind of like, you know, I mean, we listen to Tony Williams. I mean, he's getting into all kinds of metric modulations and all kinds of stuff, but he always did it in a very like musical, you know, musical way. So I had to learn how to do it musically. It took years. I'm still working on it, but you know, because you can't just like, you know, be grooving and then all of a sudden go into some weird stuff that nobody understands. Everyone hates you when you do that. So, but yeah, so that, I guess that's the style I was playing. And then as it went on, it just progressed, you know, more contemporary and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'm jealous. Didn't have any of that in my high school. I wish somebody had come to me and taught me this when I was we're that age.
I was very fortunate. I was very lucky to have great teachers and to start so early.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Oh,
sweet. All right. So where did you go from high school then?
So high school, then I went to George Mason. Yeah, the George Mason for 4 years, and then literally right after that, a month after graduating, I literally moved up here with a suitcase and a backpack. And the initial it was a graduation present. My big graduation present from my parents was they're going to pay for my rent for 2 months in New York.
Yeah.
And the original goal was I was going to be here for 2 months, and then I would come back, save some money, and then move back up there. And I came back after the first week, and I said, I'm never leaving.
Yeah.
That was it. I was just like, I was just sold. I was just like the city, like, it's funny. I've always felt like New York was home to me. It was, and you probably remember, I was going to New York all the time.
Yeah.
I was in and I was, I had I was dating someone up here, so that was a big reason coming up here. Then also I had a really, really close friend, and in college, and he moved up here. Yeah. And so I just would come to visit him. And I just remember this like defining moment for me where I stepped off the bus, and it was probably like at the time the bus station was like, I think it was like 34th and like 6th Avenue or something. And I just remember, it was very close, very, very close to Penn Station. I just remember I was like very stressed out in like school for whatever paper that I hadn't turned in yet. Like, I stepped off the bus and I was super stressed. And I just remember stepping off the bus to all these people, just like it was crazy. It's Penn Station, so there's tons of people just moving in. I just remember feeling so relaxed. I don't know, for some reason, like knowing the fact that there's so many people here and they're all like doing their own thing is like a very like Zen thing for me, which is very strange. Like I just feel very comfortable and like knowing that like, oh, like everyone's working, everyone's doing their thing. It's not like just I was very comfortable with it. So yeah, that's where I went from there. During college, I played with a band Funk Arc, and I played with a band at Stomp Status. Those are like my two big bands I was playing with. As well as I was playing, I had a steady gig on U Street at JoJo's every Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
And that was really where I learned how to play. I was already playing and stuff, but that was really, we had like a bunch of heavy musicians that would come in. At one point for years we had John Lee. John Lee. John Lee. Yeah. Anyway, I was playing. I guess those are my three main bands. I was playing with John Lee Experience, Funk Arc, and Stomp Status. Awesome. And yeah, so just playing. Yeah, I was the one that was like going to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, showing up to class like with no sleep after just like playing gigs all night long. It was like, as well as teaching too. So I was teaching and gigging, like crazy times. I can't believe I made it 4 years, but I did. So,
and you had like 9 a.m. ear training with what's his name, the old Italian guy. He's brutal. He was good, but
he's brutal. Yeah,
first thing in the morning.
Yeah. Oh man, they changed it though. I'm glad that he's doing one now, because what would happen before is he was only doing ear training 4.
Oh,
so
God.
like not
expected more.
Yeah, and like not that like the other teachers were necessarily like Maiello. That's his name, right?
Anthony Maiello.
Yeah. And not that the other like Maiello is like he's like, he really gets you to do it. Like the other teachers were like, I mean, it's pretty much, it was A, B, or F. That was his grading policies. Yeah. And F was a 0. It wasn't like it was either 0 or like a B or like an A.
Right. Do or don't.
Yeah. Like, do really well. Do like okay, probably a little out of tune, or you just blew it, And then I think ear training is super important. And I'm glad they switched that to teaching 1, because I remember like if like I got into his class and I was like, oh shit, I am not prepared for this, So, but yeah, Mason was a good school.
When did you graduate?
I graduated in 2014, I think. 2014.
So I started at Mason in 2015.
Okay.
So that's how I'm missed you by just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. That was that would have been I would have been up in New York by then.
Yeah, because that was post Bacharach for me.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to
So
remember.
did you have Darden Purcell was there, I assume?
Yeah, she was there. She was there, and then Joe McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was.
So she's the dean now, and she's actually coming on the show in April.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah, and her husband, Dr. Sean Purcell,
Yeah,
was just on a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. They're great. Yeah.
Power music couple.
Yeah, that is a powerhouse couple. You know, yeah, I haven't talked to them in a while. I should catch up with them. I haven't talked to them.
Yeah.
So
they're good people.
Good people. Yeah.
We've also had the opportunity to have a couple Berklee grads on.
Oh, nice.
And it's been interesting to talk about the differences in music programs, and you know, the Berklee folks they love their experience.
Yeah.
I always felt like Mason was a great program, and maybe we didn't have as many all the extra, what do you call them, combos, you know, doing specific styles of music, but we had great jazz combos and the Afro-Cuban ensemble, and the steel pan stuff was really cool.
Yeah, Victor
always wanted to do that.
Yeah, it was a great program. I learned a lot while I was there, and I just met a lot of very close friends. I met a lot of great people, like some of my closest friends in the world I met there. So that was actually it was funny. Do you know TJ Turkman?
I don't.
He's a bass player that I played with a lot and became like one of my closest friends. And it was funny. He was one of the biggest reasons why I went to Mason, because I saw him play bass. And he did this bass and drum duo thing with this drummer. And I just remember being like, I saw him play at Chantilly, and I just remember being like, oh my God. I was like, what was that? It was just like, and like that was like a big defining moment. I was like, you know, because I had gotten into the new school, and but it just was too expensive. You know, it's just like I guess that's kind of my opinion on like jazz school and like that. It's like, you know, I would it's so expensive. I mean, to play, you can either play or not play. I mean, you can learn how to play on your own, you know, just by just going to meet all the people out there. You know, I think it's important to go to school because it's like you're surrounded by people that are all trying to get to a different level and to the same level, and so I think it's really important. But yeah, I think you could go to a school doesn't cost $50,000 to $60,000 a year, you know, to get a good education. I mean, not nothing against Berklee or anything, because I know it's an amazing school, but it's just like, you know, it's not like you're guaranteed like a you know a
successful career.
That's gonna be able to pay that off, you know. So unfortunately, musicians don't make well, you can't make a lot of money, but it's far and few between.
That's hard when you're $80,000 in debt.
You might be 200,000.
Right, it's exactly right.
$1,000 playing a $50 pickup gig.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've heard a lot of podcasts lately, in terms of the whole education thing, for and against. And it doesn't matter what field you're in. I obviously listen to a lot of recording podcasts and guitar and whatnot like that for musicians. And there's this, it's like you can spend the money to go to college, which obviously is extremely important because yes, you learn a lot of things and there's tons of networking, right?
Yes,
and that's extremely important if you take advantage of it. There's a lot of people and students out there who just don't, you know, they're just going to school because they have to, and their concentration might be on partying or the social aspect of it or whatever it is. But if you go to school for, you know, actually learning in class and doing the absolute best that you can, and then on top of that doing the, you know, the networking that goes along with it, sure, college is worth it. And it's extremely expensive, but sure. But then the other hand of it is like, okay, let's just say you have $80,000 to $200,000, right? Instead of spending that in, you know, education, well, why not just take 80 grand and go to New York? and get your, and just night after night, network, get your chops up and start putting yourself in the scene. Or like within a recording scene, let's just say you spend $80,000 or not even $40,000 on a recording studio. And then you start getting yourself in that way, and you start getting your chops up, and you start networking that way. Is it better to do it one way or the other? It all really depends on your persona in terms of how driven you are towards, that's one thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
It's it's a juggle in terms of
it is a juggle. It's hard to come up. But I think being surrounded by that, being like in that scene of like, you're doing music every day, all day, I think it's important. And then the people that you meet, the teachers that you meet, just getting different perspectives, I think it is important.
Oh yeah, it's extremely important. And you have to be in touch with who you are as a person. With school, there's, you're being graded. There are papers that are due. There are classes that you have to show up for. Whereas if you're going to New York City and with 80 grand, there's nobody pushing you. You have to have that kind of personality that you have to push yourself on the daily. And you're going to go through those months where it's like, oh, I don't feel like doing this anymore.
Exactly.
But you have to.
Exactly.
You could find the best coach, and for I don't know what lesson rates are up there, but for $70 for an hour lesson with somebody who's really good, a year might cost you a few grand in the end. It's a lot cheaper than tuition.
I just
somebody who could hold you accountable. You could hire somebody.
I just listened to a podcast where this guy went up to Berklee, and
you let me listen to that,
and hired all the top Berklee teachers on a private one-on-one basis for like a couple months at a time. And then he would go home and then he would do it all over again, but never actually going to Berklee. So he got a higher than Berklee education because it was all one-on-one.
Oh man.
Right?
Yeah.
It was all top Berklee guys and it was all one-on-one. And he spent, I don't remember what the total was, but in terms of like the cost was like next to nothing in terms of going to Berklee for a college education, and coming out on the other side just like stellar. I was just like, oh my gosh, what a way to do it.
Oh man, that's you have to send that to me. I'll definitely want to check that out. So okay, so I'd like to dive into New York. I mean, we have people from all over the world listening to us, and New York is a beacon. It really is. Always has been, and I imagine always will be. It's a thriving city in terms of tons of stuff to do, but especially when it comes to music. I mean, when I think about the States, I think about three places. I think about New York, LA, and Nashville. And
New Orleans.
New Orleans is, I mean, yes, I could go into like the other ones, but I mean, in terms of the beacons, the huge beacons, I really think New York is like just one of the biggest ones out there. And that experience of walking into New York City and being like, and like, just like you were saying before, Graham, it's always going all the time. It's chaotic, but in a good way. There's a great vibe to it. And, there's tons of talent there. And if you are going to go to New York for music, I believe, at least I'm led to believe, I always have been, that you need to be on your game. And because there are a lot of people there who are looking for the same thing as you are. And, in order to stand out amongst the masses, you got to be kind of good.
Yeah, it's true. That is that can be the overwhelming thing sometimes coming to New York, is like, wow, I have to like always be on my best, but and then it can be very, very competitive in that way, where people don't want to like, some people won't necessarily want to help you out because they don't want you to, like they won't want you to take their gigs pretty much, I've really tried to like just not be intimidated by it. And I feel like when I do that, and I just can kind of like just go with, playing with the best players I can, playing as as well as I can, and when it comes down to it, we're playing music, you know what I mean? So it's like getting that competitive attitude. I'm a competitive person too, but I'll never vibe anyone for not being able to play very well. Like I like to tell people, because I'd be offended if someone wasn't giving me wasn't telling me something about my playing.
Right.
Like I would want everyone to tell me what they think, but I've found that just kind of like going through it and not getting bogged down by competitiveness, or oh man, this guy can play better than I can, because when you're surrounded by, when you're a small fish, it can sometimes be a little it can be very hard, and that's sometimes a little depressing, but you just have to push through and keep doing your thing, and that's how I've been able to kind of get through my low points. I've been here about 5 years. I've been here about 5 years now, and so now I feel like I've got my base. Now it's like, now I can it's almost like now I'm just getting started. It's like 5 years was just kind of getting settled in.
So kind of a two-part question. Are there circles within the landscape there? Are there many circles, or is it just a few little circles that you kind of have to nudge yourself into? And for someone who is, fresh on the scene, how hard is it to get into one of those circles?
I think it really depends on which circle you want to get into. There's and really what type of music you're playing. There's the jazz circle. There's the wedding band and circle, or there's I've really tried to, I was trying to running those circles for a while, and then I kind of just realized that for me, what is more fulfilling for me is just to find groups of musicians or bands that I really like, and I just play with them. I could technically, I could be gigging every single night if I wanted to, but I don't necessarily want to go out and play a gig for $7. You know what I mean? I would like to, I've kind of taken more of this to get a group of people, and then the music scene is small. Once you people start to know you, it's all the circles kind of run together, know?
Okay.
And so yeah, that's kind of just the way I've gone about those circles, because it is, as someone new coming on the scene, it can be really challenging. It can be really hard, because some people might not want might not want you to be in the circle. It's just it can sometimes be a little bit like that, and so I think it's just really important to find people that you really like, and that you really like playing with, and that are your friends too. I'd much rather play with a musician who's not as good, but is great hang, over somebody who's just the best player in the world, but a total asshole. It's I don't want to, I would rather so that's very important to me. And I also find that, once you do that, you find people that are better musicians, because, they're good people, and so the music comes out better because you're just hanging out, you just have a connection. So and then all the worry, and then it ends up the musicianship goes higher, everyone's when you're doing that, and you don't worry about making mistakes, because if you make a mistake, well, one, it's too late to do anything about it, so you should keep moving on anyway. But you don't have to worry about someone super vibing you and never ever going to speak to you again, because you missed one little section, which happens, and so I think that's I hope that answers your question. But
yeah. Do you ever brush shoulders with people like bigger names, like Mike Stern? I got to see up there a couple times, and some of the more famous people, do they have their own thing going?
It's funny. I really ran into he's around the scene. Do you know Justin Tyson, the drummer?
I don't.
Yeah, he's a great drummer. He played with Esperanza for a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a great drummer. I ran into he was actually just at my gig, just hanging out, and I was playing. And it's funny, I actually don't get like, a lot of people get like nervous if they have like like their idol comes in or something. It's funny if another drummer walks in, I don't get as nervous for that. But if like another like bass player or like someone that could hire me for a gig walks in, that's when I'm like, oh boy, better be on it, because then that person can be like, oh, I really like the way you play. Like, why don't you like come on tour with me? Okay, like.
Yeah.
But you see another drummer, it's like I want to hang out, but it's funny. I don't necessarily get as nervous. Sharik Tucker was another one who came through my jam. But yeah, all these cats, they're just hanging around, and like I ran into Robert Glasper a couple times. But yeah, they're all just people. They're all just people, just hanging out, So yeah, it's funny. I never get intimidated by like meeting famous people or anything. It's just
No, if I remember correctly, you were doing a tour or hanging out with the guys from Funkadelic. Is that right?
I did a little. Went on a few tours with Parliament. Wasn't I was there. We were opening for them. That was with Funk Arc. So we had. I remember this one moment. Like we were playing at Tally Ho Theater, and George Clinton came off the stage, and I just remember going up to him. And I was like, "Hey man, like excited to meet you. Thank you so much for having us." And he shook my hand. He's like, "Yeah, y'all sound real good. Y'all sound real good." And I was like, there we go. I was like, that was like, it was a very, very special moment for him to actually like take time. And then it was funny. Then he went to the story continues. He went to the bar, and he was like, hey, let me get like a whiskey or something. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, the bar is closed. And some manager comes flying out of somewhere and was like, do you realize? This is after George Clinton had cut all his hair off. So it's funny. The second tour that we did with them.
Yeah.
The second string of shows we did, they because they have the announcer stuff. They have like the backing tracks of and they had the second tour. They're like, in case you didn't know, the man in the middle with the suit, this is George Clinton. Like people didn't recognize who he was because he cut off his dreads.
Right.
And so it was really funny. And then the guy was like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." And gave him a bottle of Maker's Mark. So, but it was just funny. Yeah, we did hang out with those guys for a while.
He's pretty nuts, isn't he? I mean, and just like very out there is what I've gotten from interviews.
Yeah, he's out there. I mean, I wasn't able to talk to him very much. Just very briefly. I went into his dressing room one time. I was able to get a picture with him. I'm not super into taking pictures with celebrities or whatnot, but at the time I was like, why not?
Yeah.
And it was I didn't even get to talk to him too much, but yeah, he's still a great crazy dude, I mean, but yeah, they were nice. They were really nice to us. I remember one point we were playing, and I looked back, and the entire band is just standing there watching us play. Now that was a little nerve wracking, just a little bit, but it was still good. That's an experience. I think experience I'll never forget for sure.
Very cool. So, do we want to jump back up to New York City?
Yeah.
What? So I've had the chance to go and I've been to I think Fat Cat and I've been to the Iridium. I've been to some jazz clubs and the scene is so cool because the Village, there's so many clubs around. Is that where you typically get to play, or I guess you're not doing all jazz like you said?
Yeah, I typically play places I'm playing. I play at Rockwood Music Hall, or I play at Sylvana and Shrine a lot. I play more of the not that Fat Cat and Smalls aren't venues and stuff, but just more we're more and more bigger stages and stuff.
Yeah. Have you played Brooklyn Bowl?
Yeah, I actually played Brooklyn Bowl 3 weeks ago. Brooklyn Bowl is my favorite place to play in New York, but hands down. The people are great. They treat you well. Played Brooklyn Bowl a few times.
It's a cool concept to have for all the listeners out there that don't know. There's literally a bowling alley and a stage. right?
Yeah. Yeah, bowling on the stage right next to each other, and the place is huge. So, but yeah,
Awesome.
I like that. Yeah, but yeah, I've just been kind of going back to like the bands I've been playing with. Just really right now I'm really focusing on like two main bands that I have that I'm in, and then just practicing and just trying to like have people see me or just pick me up by hearing me play. Like with those bands or something. But not necessarily. I know I need to go back out. I need to go back out there a little bit more. But I've just kind of been focusing on just like my music, and I also have a recording studio in Washington Heights. So I've been focusing on that as well. Just like getting recording clients in, getting like able to edit and record and
That's cool.
microphones and stuff. And so yeah, it's not. I think it's important. I feel like every musician really should know a little bit about recording studio. You don't have to be able to walk in there and like dial in, compression and be able to like EQ and do everything. But I feel like everybody should know a little bit about it because that's just how you're gonna make a good record. If you walk into a recording studio, especially with like how contemporary music is getting with electronics and like like how things are being produced now, it's like I feel like it's important if you want the best result. I think it's very important to know a little bit about it.
Now, are you doing that on your own, or are you doing that a group of guys?
I'm doing it with it's me and my partner Dylan Kamenko.
Okay,
he's a bass player. He's a bass player I play with a lot. He's like my one of my go-to. He's my go-to guy here up here. Amazing bass player. Studied with John Patitucci for a while. So he's just like he's great. He's great. He's a great upright player. He's a great electric player too. He can really do both. And so yeah, me and him. It's in his apartment. So we have it's a 3-bedroom apartment.
Okay. 1
bedroom is dedicated to the control room, and then the living room is like the live room.
Sweet.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
How do you deal with neighbors? Like, you want to crank an amp? How does that work?
So this is Washington Heights, and so Washington Heights is it's just a loud, lively place. It's just
It's New York.
Random sirens in your recording.
What do you say?
Random sirens in your recording in your album.
It's funny. Did you hear the siren go by just a second ago?
Yeah.
It's New York, man. When is there not a siren going?
Yeah, exactly. But no, the Heights is like because they'll throw like his neighbors, they'll throw big parties too, like, and they'll be up like sometimes they'll be like bumping bachata music until like or like some human music up till like 3 a.m. So it's like it goes both ways, like, and also it's not like not to blow my own. It's not like we're playing shitty music either. It's not like what I mean. Like it's not. It's like if they're like, it's like I think they kind of enjoy it. And then Dylan's been there for almost 10 years. So like he's gotten to know all the neighbors and everyone knows him and everything. So yeah, we as long as we don't try not to go much later than 10. So it's always during the day.
Now, are you recording all kinds of acts, or are you guys geared towards more of a rock genre or jazz genre? Or
we're recording everything right now. We're doing with Kent Thompson. We're doing his record. It's like a power trio rock thing. So we've been doing that. And then the main vision of this is we wanted to do this because we want to like produce our own music. So that's a big part of it too. Is that we've got this. We're starting this new trio, and we're kind of just trying to do enough so that we can pay for the studio. Make a little bit of money, but really just to get our own music out there and show and prove ourselves as musicians. A way to get our music out there as well as like showing that like like we can produce our own music like really well. So
what is for future people coming into New York City? What is the name of your studios?
Autobahn Lab.
What is it?
Autobahn Lab.
Autobahn Lab. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny. It's on 170th in Autobahn. That's why it's called.
Okay.
We call it the Autobahn Lab. It's literally on Autobahn. So.
Okay. Cool.
I've just been doing that, and I just think I've learned a lot in the studio. Just being able to like. I think it's really important to record yourself and listen to yourself play back and be able to like understand how to make other people's recordings sound good.
Oh yeah, the recording
So
process.
important.
I love it.
Yeah,
It's great.
it really is.
So when you are looking to, because obviously you do a lot of playing,
Yeah.
do you go out and look for bands? Do you go out and do a lot of listening?
I do. I like to support. I like to, support my friends when I can. And then, I haven't gone out to as many shows as I would like. I used to more, but once they start to add up after a while.
Well, yeah. My main reason for asking is that, for someone who is looking to come into New York and they're looking to nudge their way into something, going out to listening to a bunch of different shows and that are within that genre that you're looking to kind of get into.
Yeah.
How did you go? Because obviously when you started off in New York, you may have known a couple of people, if any. How did you go about nudging your way into that? Do you literally just go out and watch a band and then after the show say, "Hey man, I really dig your stuff. Wonder if we could play sometime"?
I not necessarily play. I did do that. I was very like,
I think
that's my style though. Just like go up
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey man, like great playing. Let's play. Like
I've done
let's,
it.
let's go." But no, a lot of times like, just getting in there and just like hanging out with people, just like, getting to know somebody or I think going to jam sessions is really important, like in the beginning, because people like you do get to meet people, at those jam sessions, and so like I think going to a jam session and playing a little bit, being able to like, have your and I think that was important. I used to go to jam sessions all the time, and then staying and hanging and just meeting as many people as you can. And if you meet the right people and you say, "Oh, listen, like I'm new to New York," and if you can actually play, like, the scene will reward you. Like you will start to meet the right people, and like, if you work hard enough at it, and you're not a jerk or like, a drunk, you're gonna like, you can people will like, people will start to notice you. But yeah, I used to go out to a lot of shows. I did used to go out to a lot of shows. And I think it's important, just like getting to know people and talk to them. But I think I think it's more important to get to know somebody than like, when like being like, "Hey, let's play like right now."
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's more important to just like go to these shows, and then afterwards just like hang out, just like kick it, kick it with them, and just like then all of a sudden they'll be like, they'll let you know where the next shows are, and you start to make friends, and then like then you start a band, you get group people, they can come check you out, like that's how. So
now, are you ever the person going out and dealing with the venues?
Yes, I do a lot of that. I do a lot of the booking with the venues. So I have a lot of connections to different venues over here. It's just hard because the venues just don't pay. They just don't. Like the door deals up here are just crazy. Like it'll be like, I think like what's the one that like, there's a few door deals where it's like we take the first 20 tickets that are sold, and then after that, any ticket sold, you only get like 60 or like 70%.
Oh.
And it's like for a small club where the capacity is like 100, like 50 to 100 people, it's like you can't even make any money.
Right.
So like it's hard. It's hard to want to do these, but I think it's that's why I've kind of like I've like stopped playing as much. Really only doing the gigs that I want to do with like the people that I know, and the people that I want to play with, and then just like booking gigs here and there, and then setting up tours. Touring up and down the East Coast. I've gone down to New Orleans and back twice on a tour that I set up, and so I definitely deal with all the the venues. I'm trying to go more in a direction of finding like places that'll have music, but that won't pay. So not necessarily like a music venue, but like, for example, tonight, I'm booking. I'm playing over at a place called Arrogant Swine. I'm playing over there, but I also book over there too. So it's like, so bands will they hit me up and I just let them know when they want to play and stuff. So, but there it's like a restaurant and a bar. So like they'll have a budget to pay musicians, which is nice. So kind of been focusing more on that and private parties, playing like private events and pay a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
It's so different from. I mean, I was in DC and it was much more like that from the scene that I was involved in. And now that I'm in Virginia Beach now and living in a town like this, like it's just there's so much more money for music. I mean, I think they have at least 10 blocks where there's a musician on every corner.
yeah,
And it's paid by the city. And you get to, they give you a contract for 15 gigs at the beginning of the summer. There's bands at all the main stages playing that are all being paid. There's music at almost every bar, and it's almost always a flat rate because none of these places are places with like they're not music venues where people buy tickets. I mean, there are a couple, but just a very different scene. So I mean, when you've gone on tour, have you come across places like this? Have you considered touring through more touristy towns?
Yeah, definitely. When I go on, it's so funny. Yeah, once you leave New York City, it's like you can people will pay for music. It's like, it seems it's a little crazy, but yeah, definitely when I set up tours like that, I definitely try to find places like that. I have this place I play. It's a frat house in Princeton, but called the Terrace Club. And I play there, and that's a really cool gig because it's like a big mansion, and they have like a full sound system and everything. So, but yeah, I was setting up these like 2 to 3 week tours. I think I'm gonna start doing less stuff like that and more just like little runs, like a week max, or like like 1 weekend, back in and back out. So. I think that's what I'm gonna try to do a little bit more of.
Yeah, I would just think I would always be trying to go to tourist places. Like Ocean City, I've seen they've got barges with bands playing for all the bars at the fishing tournaments and on the beach. There's just so many places like that. Seems like just picking the right place is half the battle. The right town.
Yeah, it's true. Sure. And then finding and then trying to contact them in the right time because these things book up,
Yeah.
So it's like making sure you like months in advance, get out and then sometimes if they don't know you, like if they don't know who you are and you're coming from a different, sometimes it can be a little difficult, depending on the style of music you're playing, So like it's like I was booking the tours that I've booked have been like a funk, like mostly funk and like fusion R&B stuff, but now I'm trying to book a little tour for like a rock band. It's very different, because you're not going to be. I don't necessarily want to book like like gigs where you're going to play a bunch of covers. Like I want to book like venues, but some of those venues don't necessarily pay as much. So it's just difficult finding
How many people you're going to bring out?
Yeah, exactly. The different scenes and the different places to play. So.
That is true. The downside of a place like Virginia Beach is the expectation of more covers.
Yeah, and which is cool. There's nothing wrong with doing those gigs and just like, just there's people that spend their entire lives just like that's all they do is play like cover band gigs or wedding gigs, and I just like I was like delving into that scene a little bit, and I was just like. Like I want to be. I was like, I've played with a couple of different wedding bands and stuff, but it's not necessarily what my big thing I want to be doing.
It's not very soul fulfilling. Unfortunately, though, it is where the money is at.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but yeah, but it's definitely sticking to. I think it's important. I do a lot of teaching too. That was another thing. Talk about as I play. So as well as playing, I work at Marquee Studios. Which is a teaching arts company, and they send me to like right now I'm teaching in 7 different like public schools.
Wow.
Yeah, ages anywhere from kindergarten to senior citizens. And so yeah, it's been very fulfilling doing that. I teach a lot of kids with disabilities, ranging from autism to on the autism spectrum, Down syndrome, to kids that kids that might not even be able to walk or talk, or even some kids that have feeding tubes can't even, but finding a way to get through to them, through music, and a lot of it's a nonprofit, so they teach. So a lot of the schools that we go into are schools that would never have music, or a lot of the kids are like living at or below the poverty line. So you're teaching, you're really teaching kids that really, really want to, do music, and so it's very fulfilling doing that. Coming into a classroom and having kids be really stoked to see you. It's very fulfilling, especially that's giving me, an idea of what it's like, the different schools in New York. It's just wild.
Wow.
So,
that's group. You're teaching groups at once.
Group classes at once. I teach 20 classes a week. So,
and are you doing more percussion related things, or are you doing just general music?
I do bucket drums with them, which is great.
Oh yeah.
And the classes, the biggest class I teach is 35. And so yeah, 35 kids on buckets. I definitely started wearing earplugs because I wasn't wearing earplugs before. But I'll tell you what, man, 35 kids playing buckets is maybe one of the loudest things you'll ever hear.
A little brutal at times, I'm sure.
Oh man, yeah, it is brutal. But once you can get them to play together really well, they start to sound really good.
Oh yeah.
Well, they can play. So it's really powerful when you have 35 kids playing the same beat, playing something that's really together. It's pretty fun. I have a good time. I try to keep it controlled chaos, we play along with a lot of the music that they like. What I really try to do is it's a group class. So I'm not necessarily going to be able to get into crazy technical stuff. So I really, my big goal that I try to get through is I want them to have fun and enjoy drums. And then when they decide that they want to continue this, then they can get private lessons or become more serious. So we'll just put on music that they like, and we'll just play along with it, and then it's a lot of, and then we do a performance at the end. So
do you do any private lessons?
I do. I teach privately too. So I have about how many students are a week? I have about 3 private students a week.
Okay.
So I want to back up to the bucket drums thing before we go too far. So a few weeks ago, we had a guest on, Joe Ham, who is a member of this organization El Sistema. And we really talked a lot about El Sistema, which is this philosophy of bringing music to underprivileged kids. And there are a lot of, organizations around the country that they don't buy into it, but they follow this philosophy. And anyway, I didn't know if that was something that your nonprofit used, or if you had heard of that.
I haven't heard of that. I'll have to look that up. What's that called again?
El Sistema USA, because it originated in Venezuela, and now they've got the United States wing of it. But
yeah, they're geared specifically towards under-resourced kids and doing bucket bands and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds very much like what you're doing.
Yeah,
very similar.
Yeah, it is very similar. And
I think they have a lot of resources, and they have conferences and things like that. Because I don't think they don't supply any of the funding to the groups. It's more of this philosophy that the groups follow, and they try to provide how do you say it, Aaron? They try to provide intensive and continuous music education to the same groups of students, consistent music. So anyway, check it out.
I'll definitely check that out. That's great. Yeah, I think it's very important to you know, everyone's cutting the arts and music programs, and
Yeah.
it's very sad because I really think it's important. You know, kids need that outlet. You know,
Well, studies, it's crazy because studies show the more that the kids are involved in arts and music, you know, the better they do in school.
yeah,
It's crazy. It's like, wait, it doesn't make sense.
yeah,
There's research showing this.
yeah. Oh my gosh! But everyone wants just math and science, and it's just it's
I
sad.
think-
Which
I
is
think-
good too.
It's good too. Nothing wrong with that, but arts is just as important.
I think they need to bring home ec back. They need to have like
Oh yeah,
how to work on your car and how to like have a bank account and
Yeah.
Do your
they need, like,
taxes.
real life classes. I think they need just make math and you compress everything a little bit. I think they need to fit in all this life skills stuff
Yeah.
I mean,
and the arts, obviously.
yeah. I mean, you should be able to learn about taxes when you're like early on, like like high school. You should be taking classes about taxes. I
Yeah.
really
If
think
you have a job in high school, you got to pay taxes.
exactly.
Yeah.
know?
And it's confusing. People need to learn about this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
I spent like 2 hours on it yesterday and another hour on Friday.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's coming
And
up.
as a musician, it's especially complex.
Oh yeah.
Like have 1099s from all different places, and I'm like missing 1099s, and I'm paid in privately from my private teachers, from lots of people. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
Absolute mess. And then sometimes you get a 1099, you're being taxed on money, but you paid out the band, so you got to like kind of take that into account when you pay the band out.
yeah.
If you're always the one getting paid, in the end you get screwed because you have to pay the taxes on it.
You're right. Exactly right. Yeah, that's why I've started just taking percentage out. You know, whenever the check comes in, it's like take off whatever the tax is, and then pay the band out. You know?
Yeah, people need to know these things.
Yeah, they do need to know these things.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you have the class at Mason? It was what was it called? The Art of Teaching Music, where they had half of it was on how to have your own studio and like how to do I mean, at Mason they had that, and it was a great class.
Yeah, I did have that class. That did help.
Yeah, I've brought it up before, but I particularly enjoyed. Well, I wouldn't say I enjoyed that class, but I appreciated that class.
Right.
Who was teaching that class when you were there?
I can't remember. I mean, I remember there were two different teachers.
Two different teachers, right? I remember.
One was a flute teacher.
That's right.
It's been several years, but I really can't remember.
Yeah.
They were both great teachers, great class. I also never forget like having to teach some kid on an instrument that I didn't play in front of the whole class.
Yeah.
And I still to this day use those ideas of like, sometimes you get a student it's pretty good and doesn't want to learn the things that you want to learn. They want to learn something specific. And just the idea of being able to like really watch somebody and analyze what they're doing. And even if you're not a professional flute player, as a musician, you should be able to
Guide them.
Yeah.
Find things to help them. Yeah. So cool class.
Yeah.
The Art of Teaching Music and George Mason.
Music. Yeah.
So Graham, you mostly teach throughout the day, and then during the evenings you perform.
Yeah. So it's to be like, I teach. There's 3 schools where I have to go in the morning, and then and then I teach 1, 2, 4 after school classes. So 4 after school classes and 3 in school. But sometimes it's back to back. Like it'd be 5 classes back to back, and then I go to another school and teach another like 2 classes.
Okay.
So, but and then so some days my days can get pretty long. 9 in the morning till 2 in the morning. But that's that's the musician life.
I was gonna say, hey, you could be professional razor scooter person. You know?
Exactly. Oh man. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
This is a stupid side interlude, but a guy that I grew up with once tried to take 2 razor scooters down the hill in front of our houses,
Ooh.
like
Oh,
skis. Didn't end up well.
No.
No. Did he end up in the hospital?
Yes.
Oh man.
He broke his arm. Broke his arm.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't gonna go well.
That was the end of the razor scooter days in my neighborhood.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you're playing, I show up to gigs and I have my cars loaded with speakers, amps, guitars, all kinds of stuff. In New York, do they just have drums everywhere you go?
They do.
That's
Almost
really cool.
Almost every single venue that you play at is gonna have a full back line.
Wow.
Okay.
And usually the ones that don't are the ones that pay because you have to bring back line. You know?
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny. I used to show up to gigs with like cymbals, a snare drum, a drone, and like a pedal.
Right.
And now I just show up.
They got.
I just show up with cymbals, maybe a snare drum, but there's a couple of venues like that I know of, and especially if I know the back line, I could just show up with cymbals and just go,
Right.
Which is great. I mean, but then again, like sometimes you will get back line that's like a little shaky,
Yeah.
You hit the floor tom and it sounds like bang, it's like, and you're just like, well, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Not bringing a floor tom to the gig, so.
Have you ever played pianos, Lower East Side? I've gotten to play there a couple times, and they had this. They had a big orange amp that I really liked playing out of.
Yeah,
it's the only time I've ever performed on an orange amp.
Yeah, those oranges are nice. Yeah, there's a couple of venues have the orange amps. So
yeah, they did have full backline there, I believe. Actually, they might not have had the drums, but they definitely had bass amp and guitar amp.
Yeah, they have drums now. Every time I go there, I always just play their house kit. So yeah,
I remember we paid.
What'd you say?
I remember paying $30 to park and making, we didn't make much money.
Yeah,
I think just to get through tolls into New York City cost at least to get through New Jersey and even Baltimore. There's so many tolls.
Yeah, it's
definitely lost money.
It's about $100 round trip toll.
Yeah, yeah. Don't go to New York City looking to make money if you're just playing a gig like pianos.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that venue. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a really cool room.
Yeah, it's cool. I played there a bunch. Pianos, Rockwood's right around the corner too. That's one of my favorite venues to play.
What's it called?
Rockwood Music Hall.
Yeah.
They have 3 stages. They have stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So.
Wow. Are they in different floors of the building?
No, they're like separate. So it's like one of them is downstairs. The stage 3 is downstairs, and that's for like more intimate, like it's almost like it's its own jazz club or something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have stage 1, which is like a small little venue, like a small little room, and then they have stage 2, which is like the big stage.
Okay.
But it's it's fun. It's fun. I do like playing in New York.
Yeah. So before we close out, that kind of leads me to, what's your future? Do you see yourself staying in New York City for however long, or what do you got in store?
So right now, I'm really just now that it's been about 5 years now, I'm just kind of really focusing on different projects.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely see myself here for a solid period of time. I know I'll definitely be here for another 5 years, and then I think for me, I'm really just focusing on like my personal playing, like how I play, and like I've always as a musician, I'm always trying to better myself as a musician, and So yeah, I think the goal is, as much as I love teaching, I think future, I definitely would like to like maybe switch more over to private, like private teaching, and have my own, and then just have more gigs, that pay.
Right.
And so I think future for the immediate future, it's really just I'm about to record. I'm about to do some recording with this band Late C. It's like one of the main bands I've been playing with. We just went into the studio and we're like, having a producer produce these songs, and yeah. So, and then I have my rock band Johan, which is it's not a duo, but it's a 4-piece, but it's me and the singer, and we're like together, and we're like, we're very close in how we write all the music. So I'm just pushing that, and that's and then obviously the recording studio too, making that. But I'm just gonna keep going with what I'm doing, and I definitely see myself here for at least 5 more years.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I mean, if anybody is in the New York City area, or is about to go into the New York City area and is looking for lessons, I highly, highly suggest that you take private lessons with Graham. He's phenomenal. He's good. And obviously a cool cat to boot. So yeah.
Oh man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you have active right now, you've got Johan. I've been following you guys for a while. You guys have been together for couple years?
3 years, I think. Actually, probably more like, about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. About 2.5 years. And then that was my closest, when I was saying earlier that one of my closest friends who moved up to New York that I went to Mason with, he was like one of my closest friends in Mason, and we're still just like super close.
The bass player?
He's a guitar player.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah. So that's
and is Stomp Status still doing something?
No, we're not doing anything anymore. The guitar player and lead singer moved to Portland.
Oh, okay.
I still talk with TJ and Jenna though. Was it like who the bass player and the keyboard player? Yeah. So I'm still really close with them. I'm still close with Justin too. I haven't talked to him in a while. So yeah.
Okay, so you got Johan. What other active ones do you have right now?
Johan, then I have Late C.
Late C
is it's a group led by Izzy Glicksberg. I guess the best way to describe it is it's like poetry music. I mean, he's like an amazing lyricist, and so he just has this, and we'll put like these great soundscapes behind it, And it's a good band for me because it's very different than I'm usually. It's not as virtuosic. Like I'm not playing as much of my stuff. I'm just like, very all about the parts exactly. Every note has to be like, pretty much exactly the same, which is good. I like doing that. A lot of other playing that I've done is a little bit more like, just like. You're kind of like more improv, like a lot more places where I can like go in, but it's nice to really be like I'm just doing something a little different, Yeah.
So no 7/15 or anything like that.
No 7/15. No 7/15. But there are some. We do have a couple of songs and some cool time signatures though. So
and that's spelled late SEA.
SEA, yep. Late C. And then the jams that I do.
Okay.
Like I do have I have like another funk band that we've been working a little bit. The bass player just moved. The bass player just moved to Florida, so we're still trying to see like kind of what the future of that band's gonna hold. But that band's called Phantom Lover, and so we so that band's like still plays here and there, but we're just still trying to see exactly what we're gonna do with that band. But yeah, Late C and Johan are the two main ones.
Okay, and then you obviously have, you said, the Audubon Lab.
We have Audubon Lab, yeah.
And then, do you have a website that people can contact you for private lessons?
I do not have a website. I guess the best way to do it would probably be just I guess just on Facebook or my phone number. You know.
Okay.
So, but if they find me on Facebook, they could reach out to me there.
Cool. Yeah. So if you're interested, obviously Graham Doby, which would be GrahamDoby on Facebook. And I'm only saying this because I strongly suggest that you get in contact with Graham because he's awesome.
Thanks so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been fascinating talking to you and learning about the scene. We love this. We've talked about the Boston scene and all, Nashville scene and all these different places. I think this is the first time we've really gotten a good in-depth discussion about New York City's scene.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to be on and talk about the scene.
Yeah. We'll love to have you on in the future and see how you're doing and what other things you have brewing.
Yeah, I would love to. You guys just let me know.
Awesome, Graham. Well, thank you so much for
thank you guys
coming
so
on.
much.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it. You guys have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye.